just watched some video of me firing this Griffin Armament Resistance 9 suppressor on my P320 compact here. The number one thing I want you to get from this video, and I hope you have audio and you aren't just watching it, do not fire a suppressor without eye protection. There's no way I can emphasize that enough. You are going to get unburned gunpowder blow back on you. You are going to get brass shavings blown back on you. You're just going to get junk in general blown back on you. So with that in mind, you really need to make sure that you have eye protection. This is a home defense weapon. And believe me, if there's a bad guy in the house, I'm going to pick this gun up and I'm going looking for him, but I'm going to put my glasses on before I do it, because it ain't going to do anybody any good if I shoot this gun and I get something in my eye and blind myself. So if you hear nothing else, eye protection to fire suppressors. Now let's go into some of the other details that I wanted to go about. This particular gun has got a Sig Sauer threaded barrel in it. Sig uses 13x5x1 left-handed threads. Okay, why is that important? Well, I'm going to show you. When you pick up the gun, this has to be tightened every so often, just like so. Well, here's the problem. If you tighten that up, look what happens. This is right-handed thread. This is left-handed thread. You tighten up one, you loosen up the other. The only way I could keep this together was I physically had to use the wrench to keep it tightened down. But you can't do it on the gun. There's no good way to keep this tightened up on the gun. So, you tighten it up here, it loosens up there. You got one of two choices. One, put a 1/2x28 thread right-handed piston in this and use it on guns that have 1/2x28 thread pitch. That way you're always tightening in the same direction, both the piston and the adapter here. Or, and this is probably what I'm going to end up doing, is I am probably going to end up thread locking this onto here so that it will stay when I'm twisting it on and off. That's the number one thing I wanted to talk about. Now, I'm going to take this apart in a minute because I want to show you some other stuff. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is just how incredibly fouled this gun is. If you take a look at it, you can see, I mean, I got blowback in every direction on this gun. I got it around the back of the suppressor. I got it through the slide. As you can see, this is not natural to the gun. You know, where you're seeing that, that's not natural. So, the point I'm trying to make is, I've not seen anything that will foul a weapon more than a suppressor will. I was also, on this particular weapon, I was getting failures to extract. I will tell you right up front that I don't think it had jack to do with the gun itself. In fact, we'll try to take a look at it right now. But see how badly fouled up that is? Every single thing in there is really just gucked up. It's gucked up under here. But you can see the extractor, I mean, the extractor looks fine. There's nothing going on with the extractor at all. But there were some casings that didn't come out, and it started causing a double feed after it. You know, the round would fire fine, and then you go and it wouldn't come out, and the second round's trying to feed. It's quite the mess. So You know, needless to say, I got to clean this gun before I do anything else. Now, let's move that to the side. Let's take a look at the take a look at this. Okay, we're going to take off the back cap, which isn't the way you're supposed to do it. But see how incredibly messed up that is? God, you can actually see the stuff down in there. So let's use their little handy tool here, which, by the way, that was not on tight either, and that was screwed down originally. It was screwed down pretty tight before I started shooting. So let's try to knock this out. Okay, not cool. As you notice, I'm using this because it's rubber. I don't want to hurt the baffles in any way if I can help it. I still have to get the spacer out of there. The spacer's still in there. But I'm not going to take this down any farther, but I wanted to give you an idea. Look at how bad that is. Why am I showing you all this? Because there is no way on this planet that I'm going to attempt, even slightly attempt, to clean this by hand. This thing is going to get cleaned up in hydrosonic cleaner. It's just the only way to do this. So, but it's truly a mess. But that's what I wanted to show you. The big things to understand with this particular suppressor has to do with the fact that this particular piston is 13.5 by 1 by left-handed, and everything else on the suppressor is right-handed thread. And that is a pretty significant deal that you really need to think about, you know, if you're going to be using this. As I said, if you're using 1/2 by 28, not a problem, because you're all going in the same direction. I have 2 Glocks. I have Alpha Wolf barrels on them, and I have the 1/2 by 28 cylinder, and I could probably use it on that gun without. Some other things to consider with a suppressor. This is not true of rifle suppressors. I also have a SOCOM, a Surefire SOCOM Mini, and we can talk more about that later, but the 2 other things that I definitely noticed about this particular suppressor is the recoil is significantly greater, and that's evident by the fact that it's pushing everything back out through the top of the slide. You definitely feel the difference in recoil using a suppressor on a handgun. The other thing is I had a point of impact shift to the right. I shot everything at 7 yards. I wasn't going to go out any further than 7 yards because of the fact that I was definitely getting a point of impact shift to the right. I don't know what caused that, but there was one. So that's something else to think about when you're, working with a suppressor. Okay, I'm going to try to get this together and get it posted. Have a great day. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is my Griffin Arms Resistance 9 suppressor after 4 hours in a hydrosonic cleaner. If you take a look, it's pretty evident you're not going to get 100% clean. Now granted, it's a lot better than it was, you know, depending on how far away the baffles were from the initial discharge of the weapon, but you're not going to get them completely clean. This piece here was a real pain. This was a severe pain to get in and out. It took quite a bit of time in the hydrosonic cleaner while in the tube, and you know, you can still bang it and you're still getting some stuff on the table here. As I showed you earlier in this video, this is 13.5 by 1 left-handed. I mentioned that probably the best thing I could do was to use Loctite on this and lock it down. I don't think I want to do that. The reason why I don't think I want to do that is because to clean this needs to come out. Whoops, sorry. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to change pistons in it. This is right-handed thread, 1/2 by 28, and it will fit on my Glocks that have Lone Wolf barrels on them, and I'll just use the gun on the Lone Wolf barrel. I'll use them pretty much on the Glocks, period, not bother to try to use them on my SIGs anymore. Well, my SIG. My P320 Compact is the only one I have a barrel for. They're telling me they probably aren't going to make a threaded barrel for the full-size P320s, but we'll see. I can't believe the military isn't going to want something like that. So, anyway, I wanted to show you what 4 hours in a cleaner will get you. Am I going to try to clean it more than that? No, I'm not. I'll put it in the hydrostatic cleaner. If there's some real bad buildup on it, then at some point I might use the dip on it, but the dip creates, you know, a hazardous waste, so I'm not sure when I'll do that. Probably if I ever store it. These 3 pieces here will never go in the dip. That isn't happening. Especially considering this has a rubber O-ring in it. I'm not about to put that in the dip if I can help it. So that's what it looks like after 4+ hours in a hydrosonic cleaner. A lot better than it was, but it's still not completely clean. More to come.